While some people live in constant character crisis, I picked my character pretty quickly in Ultimate. Things just kinda clicked. I knew I wanted to optimize Young Link, and after thousands of hours, I'm not bored of him at all. What motivated me further to focus entirely on Young Link early on was that I saw a ton of videos saying, you don't need a secondary, focus on one character and you'll get better faster. It was all the justification I needed as a beginner to focus all my efforts. I saw the overwhelming consensus being that you don't need a secondary, and even more, you'd hurt your progress by not being focused entirely on one character. With the current state of the meta, I think it's fair to revisit this question, but also give it some nuance that I wish others had given me when I picked up Ultimate. First of all, let's address the case of secondaries for tournament play in the current meta. With how polarizing some of the new DLC characters are, you almost definitely need to have one or more side characters. That is, if you're a top 8 contender at majors. It would seem that unless you play a top 3 character, some matchups are just very hard, and your skill level is probably high enough that picking another character is entirely worth it. Otherwise, you can, but you don't really have to. I've been to enough tournaments to understand that there are many tiers of skill in this game, and that makes matchup spreads basically irrelevant. I've played against some players that made me think a matchup was brain dead easy, only to get bodied later by another player of the same character. I've seen a top 3 regional players just run over a top 8 regional Shulk player with his secondary Kirby. Both extremely proficient players, dedicated players, it's not an issue of matchup experience or tournament nerves. One tier is just slightly better than the other one, but being on a different level means that it doesn't really matter what the matchup is, he's gonna win every time. Now that doesn't mean that there aren't bad matchups, that there aren't sets you were playing well but still lost because of some busted comeback mechanic or some jank that your character is susceptible to, but the reality is the skill gap was probably small if you lost a set, and you can widen that skill gap. You can overcome that jank with skill, you can learn and improve from the experience. The point is that matchups shouldn't be holding you back at nearly any point in your Smash journey, in fact they force you to think creatively and push your gameplay to the next level. That being said, there's some nuance in this topic, which is what I really want to talk about. While having a secondary for tournaments is absolutely not necessary until the tip-top level of play, I now believe it's absolutely vital for your growth as a player to actively spend time playing multiple characters, whether you bring them out in tournaments or not. It's something I struggled with a lot because why would I use the little free time I have to play other characters when I could be focusing on the character I main, the character I love playing? Shouldn't I be studying those matchups instead, or getting more consistent with my combos? I think yes, you do need to spend a lot of time playing your main, going deep, optimizing your game plans, your combo routes, your knowledge. It's part of the process for sure. However, playing only one character narrows your perspective. It creates blind spots in your gameplay. When you're real deep in one character, you become very focused on their strengths, their weaknesses, what you optimally should be going for. The classic example is someone only focused on the potential rewards, like using moves that kill or fishing for combo starters, but that's not even what I'm talking about here. Even when you're considering risk, reward, coverage, overall success rate of your moves and trying to be objective with your game plan and option choices, you can still become very biased as to what you should be doing or what is going wrong. You can become very focused on the limitations and the weaknesses of your character or the no-win scenarios that you, optimally, want to avoid at all costs. You can try all you want to be open-minded, but it's difficult to look at things from the both necessary low level to optimize your character, focusing on the minute details, but also from a high level, focusing on longer scale situations, overall gameplay, how you are influencing your opponent and how he is influencing you, or just considering different options and different points of optimization. Let me give you a concrete example to explain what I mean. I've been playing Wolf lately, and I won't tell you he's a fundies character, my fundamentals are getting better or anything like that, no. Wolf is just busted. His airspeed combined with his amazing aerials is just ridiculous. Bear risk reward is busted, up air coverage is busted, juggling or even catching landings is super easy. I've just been abusing that really. On the other hand, Youngling airspeed is quite low and his up air is super precise. If you're not directly under your target, you'll trade or even lose to horizontal hitboxes. The lasting hitbox on Youngling up air is pretty nice. It kind of increases coverage but also increases risk considerably. Like if I miss an up air and my opponent has decent airspeed, I probably lose stage. Like I was playing against this Fox and up air was trading all the time with Nair, straight up losing to Fox there. If I missed, I was in a world of hurt, he could just calm me forever. So when I play Young Link, and I think should I be going for those upper juggles? Should I try to read his full hop or double jump? Well no, probably not too much, right? Risk reward is just not that great, and Young Link has great tools for pressuring in the corner and catching landings anyway, So my plan is just to keep stage control, let them double jump in the corner, and it's a better situation overall for me. Meanwhile with Wolf, it is just so easy catching people's jumping with up air or with fair. It's effortless and low risk. So I play Wolf for like a week, hop back on Young Link, and suddenly, wow, my up air precision with Young Link is amazing. Why? Did using Wolf up air, a quick, humongous sword arc like move, made me better at using Young Link up air, a precise, beefy needle hitbox with some super slow airspeed to boot? They're hardly comparable, right? So probably not. What happened was that as Wolf, I spent a lot of conscious effort and time trying to read people's jump habits out of the corner, off platforms, in neutral, chancing them all over the place with up air, reacting with fair anti-air. I could try it out over and over again without much risk at all. I didn't really lose any games for it. Sure, I was bad at it at first, I'm still not great, I still miss a lot. Wrong spot, wrong timing, but my brain notices how close or far I am, compares my intuition to reality, and I learn. Through a lot of trial and error, you improve in those situations, but with certain characters you just have less opportunities or incentive to try something out. It's just kind of less appealing to do it. It's more effective learning situations with characters that excel in them, because the feedback to your brain is more conducive to experimentation. To some extent, you can move past this with the right mindset. You say, okay, I'll go for those edge guards every time, even if my character isn't the greatest at them. You can acknowledge that you're learning and making mistakes is okay, but really, I think your unconscious reward system can only take so many loss screens without associating edge guards with being negative, with being something you don't really want to try out. Sure, over time you can get better, you can learn to build an intuition that isn't biased by you messing up and getting hard punished over and over again, but that's really the hard and slow way in my opinion. If you play a character that has strong tools in a situation, all you're left with is reading the opponent. And when you get good at reading the opponent and you go back to your main, your risk or coverage might not be as good in general, but you can still capitalize through accurate reads, which you've quickly honed through rapid trial and error and dauntless experimentation. When you only play one character, you can also fall into the trap of undervaluing some lacking aspect of your gameplay. Like I was talking about earlier, you get tunnel vision on the strengths and the weaknesses of your character, and you have your specific game plan around those. I mean, that's a totally legit way to think about the game, right? Then you'll be reviewing one of your VODs of your most recent tournament set. You see some weird trade that leads into a text chase situations that you don't really press. You think, well, that was kind of random. Moving on, I guess. And then you go back to thinking, well, I lost neutral here, okay. I dropped my combo there, Or I got ledge trapped there. I got gimped, that's why I lost. I need to study what the pros do in that situation. Well, maybe. If your character doesn't really tech chase that often, it's understandable that you disregarded that situation. It's not really a win condition, so you don't think about it. It doesn't really seem critically important. Well, guess what? It is important. First, from the perspective of having a good shot at capitalizing in those situations when they arise, even if infrequent. And then, it's also important from the perspective of understanding an opponent who has tech chases as their win condition. Again, it's just easier or more rewarding to learn to navigate those situations from an advantageous stance. Say you're trying to get better at mixing up your tech options. You basically have no control on when those situations arise, and the little feedback you get is often really noisy. You only have 2 or 3 options, so there's an element of luck, and even if it's the first Roy down tilt you get hit by, well, he might just guess right and you might get F-smashed and die, which is kind of heavy mentally. Did he read you? Did he randomly guess? You don't know. If you're playing Roy though, you have a lot of incentive to work on those tech chase situations. They can win you games. You can do okay guessing randomly, but you know you're guessing, right? Without even fishing, you'll get 10 chances a game to learn how to navigate those situations, learn what's hard about them, build your intuition on reading your opponent. As you learn those situations, you'll find it's not really that hard to translate learning from either an offensive or defensive stance. So next time you play versus someone fishing for tech chases, you can navigate those situations better. You'll know what habits are common in the meta, what to avoid early in sets, and you'll know how the cycle of adaptation works. Anyway, I think you get the point with these few examples. If you want to improve with your main, get out there and play other characters. Play characters who look fun to you, play characters you struggle against, abuse that dumb gimmick you hate, play characters you have no idea how to even win with. It'll expand your perspective of your own gameplay, and when you go back to your main, yeah, maybe you'll be rusty for a day or two, but you'll come out of it a stronger player, both for that matchup and in general. Hell, you can even go and play another fighting game. I think I might do that soon. What I'll definitely be doing is, for the next couple months, playing a ton of different characters, more Wolf for sure, but also trying out some other characters I struggle against. If you have any suggestions on who I should try, drop by twitch.tv/shivesteel and let me know. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep practicing and doing your best.